Collins here with the second of what I hope will be an ongoing series of video guitar lessons for beginners. If you did miss my first lesson, it's available here on my YouTube channel. But it was basically about the A minor pentatonic scale and how best to use that scale in various positions up and down the neck to make your playing a little sweeter. So today what I'd like to do is try to build on that a little by talking about something called passing notes. Now, what is a passing note? Well, by definition, a passing note is any note that is not normally a part of the scale you happen to be playing. In fact, if you think about it, they would be notes you would normally pass over as you play the notes that are part of the scale. So let's revisit the A minor pentatonic that I talked about in the first lesson. Remember that A minor pentatonic scale, if played in the first position, would have the root note A here on the 5th fret of the bottom string, and includes the notes A, C, D, E, and G. Played through all 6 strings, it sounds like this. Now, if you practice that scale, or for that matter any of the other positions of that same scale, and you get good, you can do some fairly interesting soloing and improvisation, but it's always nice to add something unexpected to your sound, and that's where passing notes come in. As I said, a passing note is any note that's not part of the scale normally, but there are a couple of passing notes that are very commonly used with this particular scale, so I'm going to touch on those first. They would be a pair of E flats, and I'll show you on the neck where they are. Here on the 6th fret of the 5th string, that's an E flat, and its octave here on the 8th fret of the 3rd string. If you incorporate those two notes into the A minor pentatonic scale, you actually come up with something that is commonly referred to as the blues scale. This is used by a lot of players in blues and rock and other genres, but it's so common to incorporate those passing notes that, as I said, there's actually a name for it, the blues scale. So let's build those two notes into our A minor pentatonic and see how it sounds. Again, we'll begin in the first position with the index finger on the 5th fret of the bottom string, and this would be the blues scale, which includes the 2 E flat passing notes added to the regular A minor pentatonic. So it goes something like this. Those are passing notes, and that's the blues scale. And if you get in the habit of soloing and improvising using those notes, your playing will get a little bit tastier and sound a little more interesting. For example, see how nice that other little note sounds? Now, there are other passing notes that you can use as well, and again, just half steps, sharps and flats. One of the most common that's used in blues riffs is actually a D flat, the D flat being here on the 6th fret of the 3rd string. And what's cool about that, even though it's a passing note, it is actually a note that's part of the A7 chord. So it works very well, harmonically speaking, to use that passing note when you're soloing, let's say in a 12-bar blues in the key of A. And there are some great blues licks that include that note. For example, one of the ones I was playing when the video opened just now. There's your D flat right there. Actually, Clapton uses that a lot too. Not with that particular lick necessarily, but if you listen to some of his early material, he tends to do stuff like this. A lot. So that's another cool passing note that you can build in. Finally, you can also use passing notes as a way to recover from mistakes. You know, the longer you're playing, the more you'll come to understand that nobody's perfect. And sooner or later, your finger's going to come down on a fret where you didn't intend it to. Of course, the beauty of that is if you recover quickly enough, you've just created a passing note that might sound really good. So as an example, in the A minor pentatonic scale, your highest notes in the first position would be these two, the A and the C. But if your finger should come down here on the 4th fret rather than the 5th fret, although that sounds kind of dissonant, you can slide up to the A, and it actually sounds kind of cool. Check it out. See what I mean? So there's all kinds of ways to use passing notes to build fantastic sounding blues riffs. One final note that I've been using as I've been playing through this video today is actually here, and that is actually just an F sharp. And it's also a great note to slide up to the G, so that when you're playing solos in the A minor pentatonic in the first position, you can make them sound more interesting as well. And you might have seen it in the lick I opened the video with. So I hope you found this helpful, and I hope you'll figure out how best to incorporate some passing notes into your various scales. Look for other video lessons as I think of stuff that I'd like to talk about, and thanks again for joining me.